Hello. Welcome to Kiki's Chat Show. Today is the 2nd of December, 2020. Today I don't have a guest. We're just going to wing it. I'm in a better mood than I was the last time I was on my own. So we're going to talk about all things, everything in the run-up to Christmas. Now, some of us have been on lockdown for a long while now, since March. And just when we were released a little bit, we had to go back into lockdown. And then today, the 2nd of December, we're out again. A lot of people went and queued at Primark. And if you see the news, the number of people in Primark today was shocking. I was really shocked because I didn't think that people would go shopping immediately after lockdown. And it's not as if the virus went yesterday and today everyone was opened. The virus is still there. So I don't really understand. I wouldn't go shopping on the first day. I wouldn't go anywhere. I stayed at home, and I advised everyone I knew to stay at home and not to go out on the first day. However, the number of people who went shopping today was mind-boggling indeed. Now, I know and I think that we should talk about these things openly with everyone so that we know what we're doing. The plan actually is to stay alive. Now, on this earth, no one actually will leave this world alive. Everyone's going to die at some point. But to intentionally kill yourself through COVID is something which I think would be quite irresponsible. So I don't advise it. I don't advise you to go out and do all these things. There's something called self-love. We have to have the self-love factor, and we have to believe in ourselves enough to think that we should preserve ourselves a little bit more. People who have to, what is in Primark that you need at this stage? And why can you not tailor-make your Christmas in such a way that when things get better, you will go shopping. You will be able to go shopping, and therefore you will. It's only a few more weeks to Christmas. If you have children, yes, you can order, you can do, but to go shopping on the first day after lockdown, I don't understand it. I really don't. We really need to be careful how we operate in this COVID time. I know that in my beloved Ghana, people are doing normal things, attending weddings, mitzvahs, christenings, funerals. But, I mean, yes, it is our culture. We do these things. But maybe we should do it within reason. I don't know. So, here again, we have a small problem which I don't think we're addressing well. Now, if you believe that you're looking after yourself, there are so many things you can do whilst you are at home. I'm not saying don't go out, and I'm not saying don't go food shopping. I'm not even saying don't go out to buy anything. You're lucky that you have money and you want to spend it. You're one of the lucky ones. However, have you considered that what is the point in wearing the new dress if whilst you're paying for it, standing in a queue with so many people because of the number of people? I keep using Primark because it was in the news. There were so many people. They queued outside and waited for the doors to open so that they would go in. Now, if you think about it, what is the point of that? Because you could come home, you could catch the disease, and then what was the reason for, why? There should be a reason. Nobody likes, and I'm the last person, nobody likes to be told not to go out. Nobody likes to be under continuous prison or self-imposed prison or prime minister imposed prison. I don't know how you view it or what it is, but there is some imposing of being at home. However, we can wait and we should wait. We should wait for these things to pass so that we can do normal things and just lead our normal lives. And I kind of believe, I'm beginning to think that the life that we knew as normal will not come back. It doesn't look like it will come back. However, it could be a life regardless, and we have to learn how to live our lives in such a way that it doesn't upset us or create problem in our lives. I mean, yesterday I had a guest coming in today, but the reason why she's not here today is because somebody she knows, a professor, his son came home with the COVID. I think he goes to school or secondary school or something, and they had the COVID. He was asymptomatic, but everyone else in the house got COVID. They were all in hospital for 2 weeks. And the dad, who was the healthiest of them all, who did not have underlying illnesses or anything, he passed away. Now, we have to become responsible. I'm not saying anything. I'm just telling you why my guest didn't come. But because we are in the COVID era, we really need to become aware that little things we do could affect other people. So if you are asymptomatic, you could affect somebody you live with, somebody you like, somebody you love, etc., etc., etc. Now, one of the things which I don't think we consider all the time are the positives during COVID. During COVID, whilst it's happening outside and whilst we're being told that we can't do this and we can't do that and we cannot meet other people, there are things that we could do in that time. For example, if your skin is dry and you have that sort of scaly skin that you never have time to deal with, this is the time that you put your shea butter on. This is the time you oil yourself well. This is the time that you start to beautify yourself, and that's where the self-love factor comes in. You do things that make you feel the things that you haven't had time. Just imagine that you get up in the morning, early morning, you're rushing, you get on the bus, tube, train, you get to work, you have to do your work. Some people's work jobs are so involving that they don't have time to do anything else. They can't even pay a bill on the phone because the line manager is looking over their shoulder, etc., etc. Now you can pay a bill, you can do all these things. So there are positive points. You can get up, have a good bath. That travel time you can use to tidy yourself up, tidy a little corner of your house, do something. These are things, because this COVID time is going to pass. It will end, and you have to start doing normal things again, as normal as can be. So in that time, this is when you sort out little things that you haven't been able to sort out. This is when you get yourself your hair, if your hair is dry, it's got dandruff, you kind of do whatever you have to do with your hair, wash it religiously, have moments when you can do this. This is when there's so much you can do. You don't have to iron so much, spend your Sundays ironing because you're going to work tomorrow. No, in that time you can do other things. If you're somebody who you never have time, your excuse is you never have time to go to the gym, and all of this is under the banner of self-love. You have to do things to make yourself loved. And by the time you come out, it doesn't matter whether you are in a relationship or not in a relationship. If you're in a relationship, you are both at home, you can do certain things so that you are not in each other's pocket in the house. You can find hobbies. That's the thing about us Africans. We do not have enough hobbies. And if we have hobbies, they are outside of the house. So if that is your case, find something you can do inside your house. If it is baking and cooking, we've done the baking and the cooking, but something deeper, something for yourself. You have to find, look, there are lots of us who have been wanting to write a book. Say, this is the time to write a book. Some people want to do puzzles. This is the time to do the puzzle. This is the time, really, to do the things that you haven't had the chance to do. And I'm today, that's what we're talking about. There are many things. Christmas is coming. So I am advocating that do not go and join large queues to enter shops. If you have the money, you should be able to order things to your house. Unless, of course, they're telling you that they can't bring it within the week or before Christmas or something. Then if you have to go, don't go while there's so many people out there. There's a queue. There are things to make you uncomfortable. No, don't do that. You don't have to do that. You have to find ways for self-preservation. And that's the whole topic of today. Everything we're talking about, self-preservation is part of it. We have to think about ourselves and how to look after ourselves and prevent the negative, inevitable thing that's going to happen if you don't. So, for example, I was eavesdropping on some young people talking about dating and how all of this. Anyway, a young person I know had started a relationship with someone just before the COVID. And since then, they have not been able to meet and talk. So I'm thinking, if that is the case, then you have to find other ways. Now, you've got the Zoom, you've got all of these social media methods to do it. But then there are other things, especially if you're in England, for example, and you are, you know, today's the 2nd, so now you're allowed to go, but we're in the tier 2. So there are certain things you can do and certain things you can't do. You can meet someone outside, that's fine. You can ride a bike, you can hire a tandem, find it. Now go on the internet and hire a 2-man bicycle, it's called a tandem. And the 2 of you can ride that bike around town. You're outside, nothing spoiled. And again, you can go to outside cinemas, because I hear there are outside cinemas in Hampstead and some other places. So you can go to an outside cinema and watch a film just because it's winter. Make sure you take your blanket and you take all of the things that you need to keep you warm because you're outside. There are restaurants popping up now, and you sit outside and there's a dome, a glass dome covers you. I saw that. I was looking for a restaurant to go to with a friend, and they have heaters over you as you eat. Now, if that's attractive to you, please knock yourself out if you have to go out. But these days, also in the restaurant I was reading, they say you don't have to face each other. So when you sit down to eat, the person is on your side, because you shouldn't be facing them so close as to speak and let the COVID air go on their face and vice versa. Because when you're eating, you take your gloves off. You take your mask off. I keep calling it gloves, I don't know why. So that is also another thing that you have to remember to do. There are so many things. Even if you are not in England, you are in a country where you can't do these things, you can still go for walks. So one of the tricks you can use is Let the person drive their car, meet you somewhere, and you can be in a park, you can be sitting on the car, you can, outside. You have to be outside though, so that all of your breathing and taking in air is not COVID. It's just fresh air. So you can do all that. I think that in time we will find methods. If we are patient, we will find methods and ways of surviving with this COVID, because I don't think it's going to go anywhere, but we can find ways of making it work and keeping ourselves alive. So keep this in mind. It's very important that we do these things. Very important indeed. Now, also, if you are a young person and you've done all of these things, that's fine. You just have to keep doing it. This is your time to be careful. This is your time not to infect yourself, or if you are asymptomatic, to infect people that you live with. Unless, of course, you live alone. Then that's a whole different ballgame. But we have to remember that we are responsible for ourselves and the people around us. You can form a bubble so that within your bubble, you all know the things you do together and you don't meet people outside of that bubble. That can also help. So whilst you were in a lockdown and locked up in your house, you are not meeting people, and your partner who doesn't live with you is not meeting people. That way you can both come together and there is no problem. But remember, if you have to do anything beyond just chatting, I think you have to wear a mask, because kissing, cuddling, having sex and all of that, I think you need to be, you need to be masked somehow. You have to be careful. So there are masks up and down, left and right. You have to work it out yourself, and you have to do these things so that you are safe. Now, we come to the topic of all of these things that we're talking about are ways in which we can meet people, we can meet significant others that we don't live with, and yet try and have a good time. If you live with the person, that discussion then comes to annoying each other. If you are with someone all day, 24 hours in a day, you are going to annoy each other at some point. Now, I'm not talking about domestic abuse or anything. I'm just talking about normal people who don't really hurt each other, but they argue a lot. If you argue, or you are beginning to see that you are arguing a lot, there are reasons for it. And one of the reasons is you do not normally spend that amount of time with them. No, you get married, or in a relationship or something, you have a house, you live together, children or no children, you hardly see each other 24 hours. You get up in the morning, you are all at work. Maybe you do these lovey-dovey texts here and there, and you do other things. So you see each other when you come home in the evening, you eat, you chat, each does whatever they have to do. Some people don't even come home early because they are at the gym or at prayer service or whatever it is that you do outside. You don't have those things anymore. So you have to find ways of staying out of each other's way so that you do not upset each other a lot. And each of you, both man and woman, has to find a way to be accommodating and polite in a way that you do not upset each other. Even if he says something, he just throws, or he says something to you that you don't like, you do not have to then suddenly get vexed and have a sharp argument about things. No, don't do that. It is not necessary. Trust me, it is not worth it at all. Do not have a fight. Do not, you don't lose anything by just finding somewhere else, another room. Even if you share one room together, go to the bathroom. take your book with you. You can sit on the toilet and read a book and not have to have a long drawn out argument, because when you finish that argument, where are you going to go to let off steam? Nowhere. There is nowhere to go. So I beg you, my friends, my people, listeners, if he says your bum is big, he says your hair is not nice, he says all these things, pay no attention to him at all. Let it pass. It didn't do anything to you. It did not mark your skin. Let it pass. Take a deep breath. Now, men, if she says something to you which normally annoys you, she just said it. Maybe she was joking. Let it pass. Let it pass, because you are thrown together. He's not going anywhere. You are not going anywhere. Each of you have to be able to accommodate each other. You're supposed to love each other. Now, if you do love each other, this is why you got married. This is why you're in a relationship. So you begin to learn to know each other. You begin to understand each other, and you begin to stop getting angry. Someone said, when you are angry about something that someone said, you are the one who's angry. He said it and gone, or she said it and gone. Leave it, let it go. Because this is the only way that you are going to have peace during COVID, during lockdown, during this shaky time. We're not sure what tomorrow is going to bring. Don't add extra angst to yourself. Don't do it. If you work from home, you both decide how you're going to do this working from home, how you're going to, well, whose space is where to work. Do it. Do your work. Come together for lunch. It's nice. You will find that if your state of mind is, I am going to try and live with X, and I am going to have a good time or make the best of this time that we've been thrown together, you will see that you will have a good time. So my advice to you is just put it in your mind that you're going to enjoy this lockdown or this kind of being thrown together time, and Christmas is coming. It's good to be in a good mood all through the Christmas time into the new year. You can start to see that it's quite nice. This is why we were together. It's nice. It is nice to be in a relationship. It's nice to be nice. And the minute you start being nice, he has no one else to be nice to outside. Now, all of you people who are normally jealous of who she's working with, who she's seeing, and all of that, hey, she's at home now. Take it. She's not seeing anyone. She's not going to the gym. She's not having to go to the shops to meet her. You are both at home. Please, always look on the positive side, and everything will be well. I want us all to have a wonderful Christmas. And these thoughts always pass through my mind. When people say things to me, when people say, oh, he's annoying me so much that if I get the chance, I'm going to leave him because of that. If it is just irritation, we actually make irritation a big thing. Be careful how you think, because when you start to think positive, everything he says is going to be funny to you. When you met him, he may have been saying the same things and you laughed. Why is it that when he says it now, you get cross? So I am not talking about domestic abuse. I am talking about just being able to live with someone and to exist with someone and to make this COVID time worthwhile. This is the time you learn about each other again. This is when you chat. Now you have a chance to be dating longer than you ever had. This is a time when the family is complete. No one's going anywhere. This is a time that you learn about your children. So the children, if you have children at home, trust me, you didn't know them before. Every day they would go to school. The teacher knows them more than you. If the teacher calls you to tell you that your son is this or that, you say, no, he's not like that. What do you know? Your son spends a lot of time with the school, in the school, with the teacher and the other pupils. Your child is at home. This is the time to have chats. He has nowhere to go. You can learn to know your children. You can learn to understand each other so that whatever he says, you know what he likes, you know what he doesn't like, you know what she likes, you know it is yours. This is your child. Maybe the universe has made us stay at home. Maybe it is the universe saying, people, stop. Appreciate your space. Appreciate your children. Appreciate your relationships. Appreciate who you are with. Appreciate. Acknowledge. Accept. Learn. Let us learn. Let us understand each other a little bit more. We are too far gone in our minds, in our work, in everything, that our homes, most people have huge mortgages in the Western world. When in Africa, they live in huge houses. They don't see each other very much this time. Everyone is together. Your family is all you've got. When trouble occurs, and I'll tell you this for nothing, when you get very sick, when there is trouble in your home, when something happens, that is the time when you separate the wheat from the chaff and you realize who your friends are, who your family are. Now, this pandemic is a big thing, and it is akin to the same situation. This is when we learn who our family are. This is when we learn who our people are. This is when we begin to create those bubbles I was talking about. And in that bubble are your loved ones. And you realize that they are the only important people in your life in this situation. People, cherish what you have. Cherish who you have. Cherish who you are. This is a time to learn about yourself. So, all of this I'm saying, really, it is how you build yourself, how you appreciate who your friends are, who your family are, how you appreciate your surroundings. It is so important. I love my family very much, and I am learning little new things about my family. I want you also to do the same. It is so worthwhile, it is so important. And we all know, we all say it. We say things. We say, oh, this person disappointed me. This person, you have friends, and then suddenly you've broken up, you have relationship. Your family won't leave you, you know. Your family is what you've got. And that is how we maintain who we have. We maintain who we are. We maintain why we are. Why we are is we made some of these choices. We chose the man we live with. We chose them. We chose to have 3 kids. When you have these children, this is the time that you love them. This is the time that you eat the foods that they like, just like the food that you like. This is the time when you teach your sons to cook. The world is changing, and this is the right time for you to have the patience to teach your boys to cook just as you teach your girls. This is the time when you read a book and share it with them. You tell them, oh, I just read something. This is not just the time to watch Netflix. This is also the time to talk, to communicate. This is a time that you do everything that you didn't have the time to do before. They're all with you now. This is the time. So basically, all I'm saying is, 1, this is the time for self-love. This is the time that you look at your life And then you kind of determine or make priorities on what is best for you. And then you start to work on each one. And mostly it's the people with you, around you. From this time going, if we do not have any more lockdowns, which I think we will have, we may have, and I don't know, I'm just predicting, because the way that people go out every time they say the lockdown is over makes us all come back and have another lockdown. When we do, you each know how to live with each other, how to behave towards each other. Now, I want to stress that I am not talking about domestic abuse. I'm just talking about living with, understanding the people that you're thrown into with, and just enjoying the life or the time that you have whilst you're being thrown together. We've talked about dating as well. Now, one of the things that I would like young girls to know is, or even young boys to know, is you do not have to, if you have to go or you are studying something, if you are studying towards something, sometimes because you and your boyfriend live in London, you don't want to go to York, say, because they're in London and they're going to be going to London. No, no, no. People, as you can see, you've been thrown together. That boyfriend wasn't there. You were not with them either. So this is the time you begin to learn that to grow yourself, you have to follow your own path. If you meet again and the relationship is good, that's it. It was meant to be. If you don't, it was not meant to be. So do not let a relationship control your choices. Your choices, you have to follow your career path. You have to do what is right for you and your future. I know a lot of people who were determined to do certain things by the age of 9. By the age of 9, I wanted to be on radio at the age of 9. I have worked in the radio. I worked in the radio and that was my happiest time. I even worked on television. I have done things that I didn't even think I would do, but through radio, I have done loads of things. So please, it took me a long time to get to that path because I was all over the place doing other things. But if you want to do what you want to do now, young people, message is for the young people, or for the older people to tell the young people. Do not allow someone to control what you can and cannot do. This COVID, this pandemic, this being on your own is determining the chance for you to sort yourself out, to find that balance, to do things for yourself, to begin to realize who you are, to learn self-love. These are the positives of COVID. There are a lot of negatives, but we can't continue to dwell on them. It doesn't work that way. So all we have to keep doing is looking at, how do I deal with this? How do I use my time? How do I sort something out that would help me to do X or Y? And I'm telling you something, by the time the COVID is over, or by the time you can go out and do whatever it is that you were doing normally, you will see that you are a better person. If you are a young person and you have less classes, less lessons, or you have to use the computer, etc., if you had time and you buckled down and studied just a little bit more, you will see that by the time you get into the outside world, you are prepared. I want us all to use this time to learn about ourselves, learn about our people around us, learn about life, learn about nature, appreciate nature, go for walks and look at flowers. when you're outside, I go out even in the rain now. And I'm someone who didn't like to do exercise. I don't like it. I can't bear it. But now, because I'm forced to be indoors, I do go outdoors and I go for walks and I go for nice walks. If my children are around, we go for a walk and we chat as we walk down. If they'll allow me to, they'll come with me. If they don't come with me, I still go. I walk a little bit, not too far though. I just walk. I live on a long road, so I walk down the road and I'm singing my little song. I've got my headpiece on and I'm walking along, and I feel, I don't know, it gives me a really good feeling. I like it. I'm beginning to appreciate something I should have done years ago for a longer time, but fine, it's never too late, and that's what I tell myself. So people, I am sharing this with you. I want you to do the same. The other thing is that whilst I'm trying to know my children, and whilst I'm trying to have patience to teach them basic cooking and all of these things, so that when they're in their, I don't know, coupledom, when they do get, into marriages and relationships, that they're living with people, they also are not waiting for those people to do certain things for them. They are doing their own. They can also bring some domestic things into the relationship, because you see, I view cooking, eating, doing all these things as normal life things. They're not chores. They're normal life things that you have to do in your life to make it better. You feed yourself. You have to cook. I am a woman. I do cook, and but I don't like cooking under pressure. I like cooking, but most times, because of my society and where I come from, etc., 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 I cook under pressure. I cook all the time. Sometimes I get so fed up I want to cry. Trust me, it's true. Now I cook less because my children are older. They're not always around me. So I don't have to cook if I don't want to, etc. Now, teach your children to do that so that they can share, whether they're a doctor, a lawyer, prime minister, whoever they are, they eat. If they eat, they cook. Around you, you can tidy up. It's not a woman's job. You have to do these things to make your home life enjoyable. There are people who, when you go to their houses, there's so much fun in the house. There's so much laughter. If you see that, you have to create your own. You shouldn't be going to your friend's house always because they have laughter. You create your own laughter in your own house so that when they come to yours, they can also laugh. Now, if you were not doing that before, this is the time you learn, so that when normality comes, you've learned something. You have learned something. And this is all I'm trying to tell you today. Today is just a realization day. Today is sharing what we have, learning who we are, so that we are better people when we are let out. We are better people. Family life, as someone is saying here, is a double-edged sword. If there is violence, etc., etc. Today, I am not addressing violence in any way. I'm pretending as if today nobody has violence in their home. They just have normal living, and we're trying to make our normal living better. So people, that's where I'm at today. I want you all of us, to appreciate who we are, first and foremost. When you get in a plane and they are teaching you how should trouble come, you should be careful how you have to use your own oxygen, and you have to do all these things, and you have to tie the safety net and all of these things. They teach you to do it for yourself first. before you do it for the child next to you or whoever it is that you're traveling with. So, in view of that, I must warn you that if you do not sort yourself out first, if you don't know who you are, how are you going to continually look after somebody and for the both of you to survive? So, my thing to you today is we need to know who we are. Now, I have friends, and these friends always say, oh, I don't get time to go to, I'm so tired, I go to work, and I never have time to go to church. That's fine. I'm not a good church goer myself. I go once in a while, but I don't feel guilty about it at all. I go once in a while, and the people in my church know it. In fact, I don't even call it my church, it's my brother's church, because I go to the church intermittently, and I'm fine with it. So I remember the last time I was there, the priest said, so when is the next time I'm going to see you? And I said, I don't know, but you will see me. So that's how it is. Now, if you are one of those who feel guilt because you can't go to chapel, you can't go to church, you can't go to your synagogue or whatever it is, or you please, you have to learn to meditate. You need to center yourself in your home. You need to know how to deal with your issues by yourself. So when you do get to go to church, it's an extra and it's nice because they say where two or three are gathered, that's where God is. It's beautiful. But learn to center your own self. Learn to calm down. Use some of that time to do things that would you feel. Learn to use someone says there are videos on YouTube that help you meditate. It's true. Use YouTube, meditate, calm yourself down. There is a lot happening in the world. Don't add yourself into that fray. Don't do it. What you need to do is, while there's chaos around you, you are calm. That's the message I have for you. While there's all the world is going mad, just think of yourself as I'm the calm one. It works. Trust me, it works. It's easier said than done because I'm telling you that I try it. It works sometimes, it doesn't work sometimes. But the thing is to have the system. And once you have the system, you can do it. So these are the things. Now, there is a big topic, and as we're all adults here, I can say that a lot of grown-ups, they have relationships, and we've talked about that outside of the house. So maybe you have a grown-up relationship with someone, but you don't live together. Now, because of COVID, because of this pandemic, and because of lockdown, you hardly see each other. You really need to have chats with each other to understand that I cannot see you because of what's happening now. You can find ways to meet. I've said that already. I'm saying it again because I'm about to finish. So find ways to meet. Find ways to entertain yourself. Find ways to do the things that you normally do that makes you happy, but does not upset the apple cart. Or be careful and make sure that you are in known bubble so that you do not infect each other with someone else's illness because you stepped outside of your safe bubble. You really need to be responsible for yourself, for your partner in your relationship. It is necessary always to understand each other in the things that we do to keep safe. We're trying to stay alive. We want to get out of this. We want to see each other, and 5 years down the line, we say, oh my God, that was some terrible time. And yet we managed to live through it. That's That's what we need. And so my suggestion to all of us is that we try as much as possible to stay alive. We try as much as possible to keep the people around us alive. We try as much as possible to learn about ourselves and learn about people as a whole. I've talked so much that I didn't even take in air. My gosh. Anyway, as parents as well, learn to know your children. Your children are the most important things in the world. And in this time of COVID, maybe, as I said before, the universe is allowing you to know your children well. Know them well. Study them. Let them know well too. Tell them about your history, your parents, your grandparents. Let them learn, especially us Africans. Let them know where you come from. This is the time. People, I don't want to say too much, but I want you to know that we can find good ways of living that can upset anyone and benefit all of us. All of us. I think I've said a lot. And I think that for those here to understand what I'm saying, I shall go because next week it's not going to be this light a topic. Next week we're talking about domestic abuse. I have a guest coming on. We're going to talk about domestic abuse. Now, because I've told you this before, if you have examples or there's something you want to talk, or if you want to join us in that conversation, please let me know. Send me a message on Facebook or inbox, whatever, and we'll try and sort something out. But it would be good for us to talk about things that we as Africans are sweeping under the carpet. Bad things are happening, and we need to be careful how we deal with them. And we have to address them before we can deal with them. And sometimes they say a problem shared is a problem halved. I say that, and what I mean, if we don't normally talk about, that's the only way that we can find people to help us solve those issues. We need to help ourselves. We, as Africans, this could be the sort ourselves out and even go and live there. Maybe we should do that. Maybe we need to understand each other a bit more. So my people, I must go now. And I wish you and I bid you and be well.